The foreclosure is sort of stalled because almost everything is in the civil court system right now. But if there's a dangerous situation there, the city would have the right to go in and board it up or put some fencing around it or something like that, which Brent will advise the mayor of that tomorrow after he takes a look at it. If anybody has any firsthand knowledge, if you've seen it, you could advise tonight so that the mayor has a heads up.
Well, yeah, I will add to that. I had a conversation this afternoon with Brent about that. I believe his plan is working with Mr. Duncan, our counselor, and I believe his plan is to find the name of the bank and send them a letter of basically saying, hey, you've got 7 days to have this property boarded up and secured, or we're going to do it for you. And then we're going to file a lien for doing so. Hopefully they'll react to that.
They'll leave it to you.
If not, we will absolutely do it. I believe actually the fire department could probably do that.
If I could comment on that, I would like to.
Go ahead, Roger.
We've been into this in the past with a previous mayor, and he had us go up there on private property, which we were not allowed to do. City employees, and it would definitely be the fire department, like Gabe said, would have to go board it up. It was our insurance, and at least that's what we was told several years ago, that we can't go on private property for any reason. We wouldn't be covered. So if somebody got hurt or something.
I provided.
Unless that's changed. I mean, that's what we was told several years ago by Tim Noyes.
Yeah, the law will allow you to do it, but if your insurance won't cover you, then you don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if that's changed. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I'll find out tomorrow. I'll call.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brent, I did provide all the information to Brent, so he'll have that for tomorrow.
Okay. If there's no other questions on that, we'll move along to the next. The first would be ordinance. Got it. It's so sad to be 39 years old and need reading glasses. First would be ordinance 2020-03, enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Walton, prepared by American Legal Publishing. Counselor, I'm going to need you to go into that one.
Mayor, I'm pleased to do that, but I thought you were going to go to the engineers' reports and the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Pardon me. Can I take that one back? Matt, you got one for us.
Yeah. Ready to go. So I sent the report to council this afternoon, if you need it for reference later, but where we left matters on the High Street Bridge, Dunrobin was trying to get the title discrepancy squared away with the Rouse family on the corner property, and Mr. Duncan was helping out with that. So Dunrobin expects that they will hear something back from the Rouses by the end of this week. Not they'll follow up with them and find out what the holdup is. When they have that done and the city returns the signed appraisals to them, they're good to start meeting with the property owners, the Rouses and the railroad, and formally make an offer on the easement per the appraisals. So there's nothing that I can do right now to speed that along. That's pretty much between Dunrobin and the other stakeholders on the easements. for the Splash Park project, as we discussed at caucus last week, I'm moving ahead with the bid documents and the final plan set. So as soon as those are ready to go, I'll get with Sharon. We'll advertise that. As we discussed, we're going to bid it as a single project for the site improvements and the splash pad, rather than trying to, spend additional time bidding out two projects, coordinating, different contractors that may not work, know each other and all that. We'll just do one thing for everything. We got the comments back on the MS4 report for 2019. State said they were happy with what we've been doing so far. They took a look at the website and the materials that we put up there. They said that it's good and informative, and then gave us some suggestions on what we can do with this year. The biggest one they had was our public outreach. Instead of just having kind of a generalized notice, we need to we need to figure out exactly what our sources of pollutants are, and who or what might be causing those, and try to fine tune our public education. So say if it's litter in the roadway, that is where most of our pollutants are coming from, that put out some kind of notice about that. Or if it's spills from the commercial properties, for instance, kind of just something a little bit more specific. And then the other thing they recommended was coming up with a transferable maintenance agreement for any stormwater BMPs on new construction. They said properties that are, were developed decades ago and aren't necessarily up to the newest specs, we don't have to, go back and hammer on everybody that they need to put all kinds of, rain gardens or whatever on their property. But new construction, we need to be, we need to come up with an agreement for that the property owner can, if we want to go that way, the property owner could maintain their all of their stormwater features, and then should they sell that property at a future point, that responsibility would then transfer to the new property owner, which was kind of what we were running into with Cawthon Run, where the developer was not really active anymore, and they had a couple parcels left with detention ponds on them, and they wanted to know, are they going to be responsible for that forever, or the city, or whose responsibility that would be. So we can work on getting a document together that we can use going forward.
Matt, a few questions on that. And we've discussed this, myself, you, and Roger, especially with the retention ponds. Some developers don't want to turn those over, but those are businesses that are, have a plan going forward.
Yeah.
So is that something that we put in going forward to where, hey, it's got to be lined out? Because
Right.
Is that something we need to do where we as, council, myself and you, we need to go forward with, guidelines of how this goes. And if you're going to get into a situation to where you're going to go under, plan for that.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're getting at. That we would set out guidelines, and even a checklist or a management plan that the property owner is going to, they have to inspect their outlet structures or whatever every month or every so often, and then there would have to be some provision in there for when they sell the property, it gets transferred to the new property owner. If the property is foreclosed on, there's whatever course of action for that. To cover that. And the older properties will probably be grandfathered in. I don't know how we can go back after the fact and say responsibility on them unless we do it by ordinance. But yeah, that kind of stuff is what they're getting at. Just to have a plan in place so we can address those.
I think requiring them to have a plan in place would be a better way to go. I don't know, how we could go back on somebody if their company's dead and gone. We have nobody to go after.
Right. Yeah, and some of those it may end up being on the property owner and not the developer.
Well, and I don't,
If there is no more developer.
okay. Wow.
Yeah, for private property, private residential development, it's going to be a little bit trickier, I think, where the detention ponds may just be, part of somebody's yard. I don't know that we necessarily need to put private property owners on, make them responsible for maintaining detention ponds or, the structures in them.
So it's slippery slope.
Right. Yeah, I think it's more, and I don't think the state really expected us to do that. It's more, going forward, here's how you should approach this, and kind of have a dedicated agreement in place with the developer. And then kind of like with Cawthon Run, what we've been having, we need to have some sort of plan for, who that responsibility goes to when the developer is not active anymore. Because not everybody is a Dries or a Fisher or a Burling who's been in this for a long time.
I know the developer of Cawthon Run would be glad to get rid of that one because there's been a lot of issues with the overflow into Boone Lake, which is going to be a burden on the city in the future. Definitely going to be a burden on the city if we take that one over for sure. Because they if you look back through a lot of the complaint calls, a lot of silt coming from that subdivision, which is going to stop a lot more now because it's more developed, but still it's going to be a burden on the city if we take that one over from that developer. If they're not going to ante up anything. To me, we had issues. If you can look back, the developer that, they owed somebody for the pump station. We had to pretty much force their hand on that to pay that also. I know that was way before you, Matt, but the city had to force their hand to pay up on the pump station that was built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there may have to be an enforcement end on that as well, some sort of penalty or whatever for non-compliance, so that it's not just that if they ignore it for so long, then the city just steps in and does it because that's the only way it gets done. We don't really want to get stuck in that position.
Matt, before we do anything with accepting this property, I would like to be able to maybe meet with you and Roger and possibly the developers that are wanting to throw this, our way, I guess. Is there a way, you, Roger, and myself can all meet and possibly involve the developer to kind of discuss this?
Yeah.
That way we can all collectively send this information out to council and come up with a plan.
Sure. Yeah, I have the plans that he's already sent me, where he's laid out the proposed lots, and I haven't committed to anything yet for them. Roger and I met with him back a couple months ago, I guess, before everything really shut down, to look at it. And so far I haven't given him a definite answer of yeah, we're okay to move forward. So yeah, I can set up a meeting with him, whether that's Zoom or whatever, or on site and sort it out.
I don't have any problem necessarily with the city of Walton acquiring that property. and having the retention pond, because that means that if I'm not mistaken, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but there's road frontage there to where we could potentially put a pocket park into Cawthorn Run there.
The one pond, yes. That was where the road was originally going to extend through and through the farm there, and they never acquired that property. So there's just a stub street, and they were just going to dead end it with a private driveway extension, and I think 2 or 3 developable lots, and then the detention pond lot. The other one is just a pond and an access easement.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much in somebody's backyard. So, yeah, we could, yeah, the one property, you know, the city could potentially get some use out of that. Yeah, I guess you have to.
I
figure out
don't
how to-
necessarily have a problem with them, donating that and us taking over that property.
Mhm.
But if it's going to be something that's going to be a burden, a great burden to the city of Walton over the course of however many years, especially with the MS4 program, that's something I would like to look at, discuss,
Mhm.
and then ultimately, before we make a decision, I'd like to bring it to council. So if there's a way we can set up a meeting with the developer, you, myself, and Roger, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with them and get that going.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any
So-
more on your report?
Yeah, a few more things. Just a quick update on the Owens property. I sent Cassandra the site map the vicinity map that she needs for the grant application. And Duke Energy, the gas and electric departments are working on the utility impact letters that we need. So neither of them mentioned that they were aware of anything on the site. But they're running it through their right-of-way department. I think just checking for any easements, anything like that, and they should be getting it to us
Perfect.
soon. The street projects. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
For the 2020 street projects, as we discussed a few days ago, the total estimate is $159,617 for the streets we've been over. That's Elmwood, Brookwood, Richland, Eclipse, Panzeretta, Chambers, Welch, and the short segment of Old Nicholson. So I know the city was going to meet with the accountant and confirm the funding on that. So as soon as we've got a number that everybody's comfortable with, or if we need to scale it back as necessary, I will finalize the bid spec so we can get that one advertised as well. And then the last thing, you guys have probably driven by there and seen it already, but the state activated the new signal at Dixie Highway and Walt Nicholson Road yesterday.
Sure did. I ran it today.
Yeah, they'll keep tabs on it over the next few weeks. Now, normally, if this was a business as usual, they'd give it 2 weeks to a month and come back, and if they notice they're having any unusual backups on one side or another, they can tweak the signal timing. Now, the way things are going, it may be quite a while before we get back to normal traffic patterns. So I'm sure if anybody notices something that looks like it's amiss, we can, I can give them a call and they'll bring the crew right out there and make some tweaks. So anybody let me know if they notice anything that doesn't seem to be working right. I think that's all I've got. If anybody has any questions.
Okay. Council.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Appreciate it. We do not have fire or
I emailed Joey's
We do
report.
have fire.
Yeah, I emailed it.
you All right. If somebody, Sharon, would you like to read through that, or we don't have that? What I'm getting at is we don't have them online. But council has their reports.
Yes.
Yeah, let me
Mhm.
find it.
Sharon, I've got it in front of me if you want me to read it. It's real quick.
Go for
Okay.
it.
For the month of April 2020, we responded to 100 EMS incidents, 49 fire incidents. Specifically, we responded to 11 MVCs. I don't know what that is.
Motor vehicle collision.
Oh, yeah. 4 overdoses and 1 significantly involved structure fire in a residence. That's all.
Okay.
Mr. Duncan, where was that structure fire at?
Salem Creek, I think.
Not
Mhm.
Bobby.
It was
Duncan.
in Walton.
There you go.
I think it was the one that, I think it was like Salem Creek Estates, man. I think, or somewhere around
Oh.
Or
Pretty big
somewhere
house
around-
then.
That was
somewhere
a total loss, I think.
it was gone.
Not in city limits, I don't think, though.
I don't think so. I remember talking to Joey about it last week, but
Sorry to hear
Roger,
that.
if you're going to get nitpicky, it was within the Walton zip code.
Yeah, well, that could be Richwood and everything. We get no taxes though, so.
Right. Okay.
we care about non-taxpayers too.
That's right. Especially the Richwood ones complaining about speed limits. Get them all the time.
All right. Well, let's get back on track here. I guess if there's no, we have display
Ordinance.
ordinance 2020-03, which is enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Walton for 2019 ordinances prepared by American Legal Publishing. Counselor, I will ask you to expand on that.
Okay, Mayor, you read the title. By summary, you all know we have a code of ordinances. And every time we amend our ordinances, it goes into the code book.
Or create new ones.
Yeah, American Legal Publishing puts those in the code book and updates it for us and updates it online. What this does is adopts that code update. That code update also includes any changes in Kentucky statutory law that affects our ordinances. So that's first reading. You can look that over and adopt that at a future meeting if you like.
Make a motion.
Second.
Who seconded?
I
Me,
did, Barb.
Oh,
Okay.
me or Barb.
Okay.
Either or.
Barb,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
Okay. Next is a motion to go into closed session pursuant to KRS 61 810 subsection 1 subsection B. Council will enter into closed section for subsection B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by public agency, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of a specific piece of property to be required for public use or sold by a public agency.
Mayor, I have to interrupt you there. We only put that on the agenda in case we expected that there was going to be discussion on authorization for amounts of money to offer or that being requested for the property. And that's really the only reason that we could go into closed session. So since it's a special meeting, we put that on there as a precaution.
Mike, you beat me to the punch on that, as always. I think for the way we have the resolutions written out, unless there is something council would like to go forward with in discussions for that. And honestly, there's not a lot of details. Um, So if we, unless somebody wants to make that motion, we can skip forward and do that at a later date.
Well, I didn't realize there was a motion to go into closed session on this agenda. But I'd say for the resolution we're looking to adopt, we might want to go into closed session so council members know what price we're looking at, and we can agree to that price, and then do the resolution with the understanding of that price.
Councilman, I will tell you honestly, I think with, and it's totally up to you all. First and foremost, this is your all's meeting, not mine. This is a council meeting. This isn't the mayor's meeting, but I would say that with the second resolution of the authorizing the mayor to submit an application, or excuse me, the first one authorizing the mayor to negotiate contract. I would think with that language, we do not have a set price yet. So that is my thoughts. I have a ballpark estimate of what Dr. Owens would be asking, along with his donation. But I would think, maybe the closed session would be better going forward, assuming that, these other two resolutions were passed. My counselor, do you have any comments on that?
No, I think we fully discussed it. It's totally up to council if they wanted to go into closed session at this point.
Absolutely.
I said at this point, at this point or any future, we start getting into numbers, we should go into closed session.
Perfectly fine. Council, do you have any thoughts on that, or would you like to take it into closed session? Or can we go on with the next two resolutions?
Fine with me.
Go ahead.
Okay. So next would be, I'm sorry, somebody say something?
I think it just got some feedback.
Okay, yeah, you'll have that. So next would be Resolution 2020-04, the city of Walton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to negotiate the contract for the acquisition of the Owens real estate, terms of which to be approved by city council. Counselor, I'll throw it back to you.
All right, Mary, you just read the title. The resolution itself in the first whereas recites the specifics of the parcels that we're talking about, and we call it the Owens property. I think you all are familiar with the property. The second whereas indicates that the owner has indicated to the city that he's interested in selling part of the property and donating part of the property. No set price at this point, though. And then the third whereas said that the property would make an excellent opportunity for park and recreation, to provide a path for the sewer system, which has been discussed previously, and then it would open land for economic development in the future. Then you get to the meat of the resolution. Section 1 says that the mayor is hereby authorized to negotiate a contract for the acquisition of by the city of the Owens real estate on terms and provisions desirable to the city, including a partial purchase and a partial donation. Section 2 says that the mayor shall submit the proposed contract to Walton City Council for approval, and that means in the future after he's passed the negotiation. And then the mayor, the city clerk, and the city attorney shall take whatever actions are necessary to carry out this resolution. So that's the resolution, up to council now.
Okay, that would require a motion by motion and a second by council.
Second, I guess.
I didn't hear who first.
I think it was Matt. Matt, didn't you make a motion? We can't hear you, Matt.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was probably covering my mic, sorry.
Okay.
So Matt and Barb.
Okay,
Barb,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Bobby. Bobby,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Stephanie,
No.
Matt.
Yes.
okay. So moving forward, we would have resolution. Next will be resolution 2020-05 of the city of Walton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the Kentucky Department for Local Government for assistance under the National Recreationals Grant Program. The National Recreationals Trails Grant Program. Counselor, I'll throw it back to you.
Okay, Mayor and Council, the mayor read the title. Basically, this relates back to the property that we just discussed. The mayor has been working on getting the information together for a recreational trails grant through the Department of Local Government. And what this will do is authorize the mayor to go ahead and sign all the documents to file that application. I will remind you that in Section 2, the Recreational Trails Grant does require a 20% match. It can be provided by pledged in-kind, donated, and other account labor and materials and so on for our share. And then Section 3 is a recitation that's required in these resolutions that says if the grant is awarded, that we will follow federal and state laws, specifically the Civil Rights Act. Section 4 just says that the mayor, the city clerk, and the city attorney are authorized to go ahead and sign any documents and take whatever actions necessary to get that grant filed. So that's up to council.
And to clarify, Gabe, this is 250 and the max match from us would be 50K, correct?
Correct. The way it would have to be budgeted, it would be similar to the grant money that we have for the pedestrian bridge on High Street. We do have to budget that money, but that money, should we be awarded the grant money, that money would be, while it is budgeted, that money's reimbursed, which, you know.
Yeah, don't come out of the budget once you get the grant.
It's in the budget, but it doesn't actually affect the budget. So we technically, we have to put the budget in, the money in the budget for the $250,000, assuming that we get it. If we don't, obviously that money won't be spent. But yes, we will budget for that the same as we have done with the High Street Bridge, which we did get the grant money for. And I will say, in regards to applying for this, and I spoke on this during the last meeting, that I have many letters of support all the way up to Actually, before this meeting, I got off the phone with Thomas Massey. So I have many letters of support. I plan on hopefully we can have an in-person meeting during the board meeting to acquire or when you go forward with applying for these grants, there's a board meeting. It's to my knowledge that generally the people that show up and make a presentation are the ones typically that are awarded the grant funding. But I've got multiple letters from various public leaders that will be submitted with that. And whether it's a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting, which hopefully it is, I have full confidence that we will obtain that grant funding.
Well, there you go. I make a motion for the resolution.
Okay, we've got a first. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Sharon.
Barb,
yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Bobby,
Yeah.
Rose,
Yes.
Stephanie,
No.
Matt.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so looks like we're down to citizen comments. Can we unmute our citizens? I'm looking at Greg Atkins, Terry Courtney, or not, sorry, not Terry Courtney, Tootie, and Miss Margie Stewart and Howard. Do you all have anything?
No.
Tootie, you got anything?
No, sir, I don't.
Margie, do you have any
Nope,
comments?
I'm okay.
And Greg Atkins.
No, I'm just watching.
Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to council comments. I'm going to start where I see you all on my screen. Terry,
I have nothing, thank you.
okay. Next, I see Barb.
The only thing I have is that with things opening up, I do hope everybody continues to be real cautious of what they're doing. I've been out a little bit the last couple days, just stopping at small places, and I'll go in and I'll be the only one with a mask on. So I do hope everybody is trying to be as careful as they can, washing their hands, disinfecting, wearing those masks, and just taking care.
Okay. Thank you for that. Next person is Councilman Brown.
No, I don't have anything. Thanks, y'all.
Okay. Councilwoman Williams.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Beach.
Nothing, thank you.
And last but not least, Councilmember McDonald.
Nothing.
Okay.
We don't get no mayor's comments. Motion to adjourn.
Second,
You all are
Hey,
jerks.
before you vote on that motion, Mayor, I'll remind all the council members and all of the members of the public out there that if you want to run for council, the filing deadline has been made earlier for this section this year. Typically, it was in August. They've moved that back to, I believe, June the 2nd.
correct.
Check with your county clerk on that if you want to file for office.
Mayor,
Are they open?
can I ask a question around that? I actually spoke to Frankfurt today, and they asked me to confirm that we are nonpartisan.
Yeah.
I see
Yes.
it, Howie. there's another piece to that, nonpartisan something.
It's called,
Uh,
we're either there's two different things. It's non-waiving and waiving, and then
Oh,
there's nonpartisan.
nonpartisan waiving primary, is that us?
Right.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
primary, yeah.
We have no primary. We are nonpartisan. Where you get into partisan is when you get into county commissioners and judge executives. So we hold no primary.
All right. Now I talked to voter registration today and did not get an answer because the supervisor was on the phone with Frankfurt about turning paperwork in and filing fee. The woman that answered the phone thinks that they're going to do that by appointment right now, but she didn't know for sure. So you can get all the paperwork. You can get all the paperwork on the Secretary of State website. But as far as filing in with Boone County, I don't know how we have to do that at the moment.
Howie has experience. He was able to get his in. Can he share with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I did was I got all the forms off of the Secretary of State website, filled them out. The KREF form has to be, you can do online, and the Secretary of State does their part, print off that copy, and you can call down there to Burlington and bring your paperwork and you check down there.
Okay.
You stated, Howie, they met you in the parking lot or something, correct?
Yeah, they met me right out back, and I just handed it off to them, and then they went in, and I got a call 2 days later.
It's a $50 fee, and don't forget, you gotta put Boone and Canton County at the top of the paperwork.
Boone and Canton?
Boone and Canton County, because Austin Valley's in Canton County.
Yeah, Kenton County votes are very important. I will tell you that.
Yeah. And I think you have to have 2 citizens registered to vote in Walton sign your forms.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the petition, yes. And I'm not sure if you call and ask for Dawn. Dawn is very helpful. I found her to be a good friend. Anytime when there hasn't been a pandemic going on, that I have a judge executive or mayor's meeting, I usually stop down there to say hi to Dawn. She will help you in any way possible. So if you call the clerk's office and ask for Dawn, she will tell you, she will hold your hand and walk you through any of this. It's a total, she would have when it was a paper process, but obviously now we're all sitting on Zoom meetings. So everything is kind of different for everybody. But if you call, you have any questions, if you call the clerk's office and ask for Dawn, she will help you in any way she can.
Yeah, she was great helping me.
Dawn's a good person. If we're done with council comments, as far as mayor comments goes, obviously we're continuing to monitor the situation. I'm hoping to, go forward with kind of a plan as far as what the governor's guidelines, the CDC guidelines are for reopening. We are also, Sharon, Roger, and myself are looking into implementing that for the city of Walton as well, on how we're going to go about day-to-day operations. We've taken steps in anticipation of that. I would also like to say that Walton lost, 2 really good people. We lost David Willoughby, class of 1998, year before me, in a four-wheel drive accident. Some of you know, some of you may not know. Not only does David's son work for the city of Walton now, but the Willoughby family has done a lot of work for the city of Walton over the course of the past 30 years. And we also lost Fred Light, class of 1976. I grew up with his sons and his daughter. His daughter, I know, but she was quite a few years younger than me. They were both really good individuals. So and I'm sure there's others that we've lost, but those two stand out to me. It's completely beyond me. I never thought that I would do a drive-through funeral. Not to mention 2 within a week. So please keep their families in your mind. Other than that, I don't have any other comments.
I do. We kind of skipped over the event portion. I think we need to talk about that a little bit. Cassandra has new information.
Oh, event planning, okay.
Yes.
So I know Tammy talked to a gentleman at the health department this morning, and he advised us to kind of like take a stop on planning any of our Old Fashioned Day event for at least another month. It's totally up to you guys though, because he said that not more than likely, but he said in case in the future if there's another wave that comes through with things opening back up, that we would be doing all this planning and putting deposits down and paying people and then have to kind of backtrack everything. So, I mean, we've already planned a whole lot, most of it anyway. I was, going to go with Bobby about bands, and there were some things that we got to iron out. So
the state of Kentucky is still planning the state fair. So I mean,
right,
think
and
we're probably still
that
okay
today.
if we're planning Old Fashioned Day. Obviously,
But
there may be.
that could change too, so we don't know that.
I was in a meeting with KLC today, and they said that they're going to decide next month if they're going to have their conference. They advised, I had asked the question about Old Fashioned Day, and they said that they would only plan it using the 6 foot distance with people.
Yeah, okay.
This goes against
If we-
anything I've been told, honestly. So maybe this is a discussion for another time. I don't see any situation where we shouldn't continue a plan for this event. Yes, is it idealistic and hopeful? Absolutely. But if we don't have hope through any of this situation, then I don't know what the hell we have.
I mean, we're not putting down any really big deposits, correct? I mean,
No, we haven't, but I mean, and I don't know how far in advance the bands are wanting deposits. I think it's usually, is it 2 weeks and then the day of the event?
yeah, something like that. I mean, aside from Amy's Sailor Band, I deal with all the bands that we have booked. And I mean, I'm allowed to open my venue July 1. I have a band July 3rd, which I'm going to run, but I have to run with no more than 50 people and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
I'm going to do it as a trial to see if it even works. And I've talked to the band that I have scheduled the following weekend and told him I may cancel. And he's like, I get it. Stuff's weird right now. Ain't no big deal. So,
Right.
They're all more or less understanding.
And Amy would be okay with that too.
I would think, honestly, that everybody would feel the same way as what Bobby just described. And honestly, maybe that's like I said, it's a discussion for later. I'm basing this, what I'm talking about, off of the sit reps that I send you all every couple of days based off of governor's plans. If the governor's planning on opening up things step by step, the latest date I've seen for full on opening is June 1st. I don't see any situation to where we shouldn't continue to plan for this. As far as the health department goes, I'm not sure who you talk to, Cassandra, but and I'm not saying they're not a reputable source, but
I'll ask Tammy tomorrow.
It was Ashley. She talked to a guy named Ashley.
Well, she's not Dr. Sadler. So Dr. Sadler's the head of the Northern Kentucky Health Department. And, they seem to be kind of in step as a wait and see. But a wait and see doesn't mean we shouldn't plan for the future. If anything, like I said, it may be optimistic going forward, but like I said, you got to have optimism, especially in this time. I hope the Bengals. We'll discuss it at a later time, is what I'm getting at. And I'm not trying to shoot you down. Please don't think I am.
No, I don't care that. I mean, it's fine that we're going to do it, but there's things that we need to get done in the office that we need to call people. We need to put people on the books. We need to find volunteers because we have no help from anyone.
Right.
So, I mean, there's things that need to get done.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, maybe we'll have this, since everybody's got a lot of free time. Maybe we'll have a special events planning meeting. If council's okay with that.
Fine with me.
Maybe we'll have a lengthy discussion of just old-fashioned day. So there's obviously going to be some protocols that have to be set. If we're all anticipating we're going to have a fall wave and uptick and a spike in this thing, even though we flattened the curve, and maybe we need to implement some new plans that we haven't thought about before. How do you maintain social distancing during all this?
Well, how about just having a basic, down to the minimum, just having the parade, like the seniors did their thing, just have a parade.
It's open for debate. So, but I don't think that's a debate for tonight.
Yeah, just send out the date you want to have the meeting, and then go from there.
Okay. Is that agreeable with anybody besides Matt Brown?
Fine with me, I don't care.
I agree.
Okay. If we have no other further discussions, I believe we've gone through our agenda. The only thing left is for adjournment.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah, there's already
Oh,
been
Matt, yeah, that's right.
That did that.
Y'all didn't even want to let me speak.
Yeah,
Okay.
We did
An
that.
hour
Right.
later.
That
Yeah, we
was
do.
15 minutes before you started talking.
Yeah, that's been 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Well, you got to blame that on Duncan. He gets paid by the hour. So
By the way, does
Remember that.
anybody know the Parker family? Chris Parker, he passed away.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about.
Yeah, and they were very well-known people. There was 8 children in that family, and they ran around here in Walton with a lot of people. I know they were good friends with Mike Wood and several of the people in that age group. So,
I-
and
I'm friends with Colt, so yeah, I forgot about him.
yeah, that's
Rest in
Corky,
peace,
isn't it?
Chris.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Well, so we have our first and second, I guess, would be Matt and Barb.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, me.
Barb,
Eric, can I get a vote?
Barb,
Oh, yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Bobby,
No.
Rose,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
All
Who's
right.
the little dog that keeps barking?
Barb's.
Is it Zoe?
She's barking, but I'm on mute.
Meeting adjourned.
See you.
Night all, be
Take
safe.
care. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Be careful, everybody.
All right, everyone.